Namaste. Welcome to the first in a series of sessions about the yoga chakras. Chakras are energy centers which are said to be situated along the spine, just in front of the spine, and they don't physically exist. You couldn't look inside someone and say, there's the liver, there's the heart, there's Vishuddhi chakra. It doesn't work like that. They are the subtle energy, areas where energy is concentrated, and these energy centers affect the way we feel in our physical body, feel emotionally, and the way it can affect our mind mentally. And I like to think of them, chakra means wheel. If you imagine a small windmill, like a child's toy, and if the wind is blowing, it's going to spin round nicely. If there's no energy flowing, no wind, then that chakra is stuck. And if there's too much energy, it can be overactive. So if you imagine it in that way, this gentle spinning of little energy wheels in our body, we can picture it. A modern way to interpret these energy centers is through color. Just like light is refracted through water or crystals and splits into the 7 colors of the rainbow, well, the different energy centers vibrate at different frequencies, just like colors do. So we can think about these different colors. And each chakra is represented in Indian iconography as a lotus blossom with varying amounts of different petals and symbols within them. And we're going to start today by talking about Muladhara chakra. Mul means root, so the root chakra, the energy center at the bottom of our spines. So I want you to come to a comfortable seated position and sit any way you want to. You might want to sit up on blocks. It might be useful to have a couple of blocks or books for later on in the session anyway. So that you've got a nice upright spine, and then closing the eyes and relaxing the shoulders. Perhaps today the hands, you could rest the thumb and forefinger right up on the hip crease, or hands up at the top of your thighs and press down. Keeping those shoulders relaxed so that you really have a sense of engagement with the ground. So your connection to the earth. So each chakra is represented by different things. The root chakra, the symbol is a yellow square, this nice stable solid shape. It's linked to the element of earth. So think of grounding down into the earth. And it's situated just in front of the tailbone, so right at the base of the spine, above the perineum. If you think about the web of muscles, the pelvic floor that goes across the hips and front and to the back of the hips, if you lift that up and in, draw everything up and in and release it, just pulse your pelvic floor a few times to get the idea. That is where your root chakra lies. Thinking of the color red. And this is connected to our basic instincts, our primal instincts. The root chakra, as we know it, is the final chakra in the animal kingdom. So we start overlapping with animals at this root chakra. It's our first energy center. And the chakras can be seen as this ladder to higher consciousness, lifting us to operate, to think and work and live at a higher vibration. So breathing into this root energy. thinking stability, courage. It's about living our life wholesomely. And if the chakra is blocked or um, under functioning, it can lead to issues in the lower body. So um, the legs, the feet, or excretory, sexual dysfunction. If it's overactive, then this chakra could mean that people are too materialistic. They want too many things to reassure them to be secure. That it can lead to addiction, and it comes into our language, this idea of the energy centers. We talk about a gut feeling, or it broke my heart, or that really sticks in my throat. All of these things along the spinal axis. Um, so breathing in and out here. And then gently opening your eyes. You can change the position of your legs if you want to. Bring the hands to the heart. Inhale here. Link the fingers together. On an exhale, push the palms away from you. Bow the head round the spine. Inhale, lift the hands up above the head. And on the exhale, let the fingers separate. Hands come down to behind the hips. Link the fingers, intertwine those fingers, and on the next inhale, reach back through the knuckles, squeeze the shoulder blades, lift the heart. On the exhale, let the hands separate, bring the palms together in front of you. Again, bow the head round the back. Inhale, bring the hands back in front of the heart where we started. Good. Now we're going to do a little twist. So inhale, lifting the hands up. As you exhale, turning to your right, and then bringing the left hand down onto the right knee. The right hand comes behind the hip. Breathe here. Nice big inhale to lengthen through the spine. Exhale into the twist. Looking over your right shoulder. Good. Lifting that right arm up on an inhale, bringing it across the top of the body into a side stretch on the exhale, looking under the arm. Keeping the hips grounded on the floor, so really pushing down through that right hip, reaching out through the right fingertips. Inhale to finish. Exhale, bow the head down. Press the hands into the floor, really grounding, and then come up, sitting upright again. You might want to change the position of your legs, ready to do that on the other side. Bring your hands to your heart. Nice big inhale. When you interlink the fingers this time, see if you can do the opposite way round. So different little finger on the bottom. It will feel strange. Exhale, push the palms away from you. Bow the head round the back. Inhale, lift the hands up to the sky. Exhale, big circles. Join the hands behind you, intertwining the fingers. And lifting through the knuckles, lift the heart, maybe lift the head, keep the neck nice and long. And then letting the hands separate. Exhale, sweep the hands around in front of you. And bring the hands in front of the heart. Ready for the twist. Inhale, lifting the arms out to the sides and up. Exhale, turning to your left. As you exhale, right hand down, left hand touching the ground behind you. Breathing in here, lengthening the spine. Exhale, twisting gently. And now lifting the left hand up and over, come into that side stretch, breathing into the side of the body, looking under the left arm. Inhale, exhale, nice, deep, slow breaths. Reaching and opening this side body, breathing into the left ribs. Exhale, bow forwards, bring both hands to the ground, press down into the earth and push yourself up. And come to kneeling on all fours in tabletop position. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. You know the options. You can take forearms to the floor or make fists of your hands if that's more comfortable. Ready for cat-cow. So really thinking about connection today. I want you to use Hasta Bandha, where we press down into the fingertips and draw the palm up a little bit. So there's a real lock onto the floor. So like tiger's claws spreading out down through the hands. Long spine on the inhale. As you exhale, draw the belly up towards the spine. Drop the head as you round the back. Inhale, dip the pelvis forward. Lift the heart, lift the head for cow pose. So rounding the back for your cat stretch on the exhale. And arching the back, lifting the heart, lifting the head for your inhale into cow pose. Couple more times. Feel the energy moving up the spine each time. So getting that prana shifting through all our different chakras. Always starting in the pelvis with that tilt. So we're starting with the base chakra, moving it up through the spine, up into our head. Lovely. And now choosing either half down dog, puppy dog, walking the hands forward for a nice long spine, or hands a little bit in front of the shoulders, tuck the toes, lifting into downward facing dog. And really thinking about getting that root chakra now reaching up to the sky. So tipping it upside down, tilting it up into the air as best you can. And if you're in downward facing dog, you might want to walk out the legs, pedal one heel down towards the floor, bending the opposite knee, and then do it with the other heel. Lovely. We're all going to come together in kneeling again, lifting the head, lifting the heart for cow pose, and sinking back into child. So hips coming back towards the heels, head coming down towards the earth. Reaching the fingertips forward, slither yourself into cobra pose. So hands under the shoulders, lifting the chest, lifting through the crown of the head, reaching through the toes. It can be a tiny cobra, or you could come up high if you want to, and then gently push yourself back, either staying in kneeling, tabletop, or lifting the hips for downward facing dog. Come through that sequence another time. So kneeling, inhale, lift the head, lift the heart. So you're in your cow pose. Exhale, hips back, child pose. Inhale into cobra. It can be a little one or it can be lifted. And then exhale, either staying in kneeling or downward facing dog. And then everybody walking yourself into your forward fold at the front of your mat. I really want you to have nice wide feet, maybe even a little wider than hip width apart. And let the body be heavy, unless you've got anything going on with blood pressure, in which case you might want to keep the head a little more in line with the heart. Otherwise, letting it dangle down. Let the knees be bent to start with. And really press down, drop your weight down into your feet. We're going to stretch out the back of the legs a little here. So on the inhale, you might want to bring your hands higher up onto your legs, bending the knees, inhaling. On the exhale, Straighten the legs as best you can. Bow down. Head towards the floor, hips towards the ceiling, and then release. Bend the knees again. Inhale. See if you can lengthen the spine on that inhale and keep that length on the exhale as you bow down. Feeling into that stretch of the back of the legs. One more time. Inhale, lifting halfway. And exhale into your fullest forward fold. Good stuff. Now press down into the ground. Send roots down through your feet. And roll or float up on an inhale to standing. Rising up, you can lift your hands at the end of that movement if you want to. Bringing the hands down to the sides of the body into Tadasana, mountain pose. Breathing here. Thinking about being rooted and grounded. So looking down at your feet, lift the toes up, invite them to spread out. They might not want to. Invite them to spread out and press them back down onto the floor, like tree roots reaching out in all directions, widening our base so that it's nice and sturdy. And we're going to work our way through a very grounding sun salutation type sequence, including some squats. Your choice how deep you go into these squats, but you might want some blocks to sit on. If you want to go down low but know you can't stay low in a squat, that might be an option. Otherwise, choice to stay up much higher. So take the feet wider apart than your normal stance in mountain pose. Turn the toes out to point out at an angle. And let's have hands on thighs to start with. Inhale, nice and tall. Exhale, bend the knees. Take that tailbone down. Tuck the tummy in. Keep the chest lifted. Take a breath. Press down into the legs and rise up again. So your choice, you can do the same again. You can come a little bit wider. You can come down lower if you want to. So inhaling here, standing tall. Exhale, dropping the hips down. See where you can settle and stay. Nice, deep, slow breath. And then pushing up again on the inhale. Good. So if you're nearly down, getting those hips down near the floor, you might want to take a couple of blocks and you can sit on them. We're going to stay in our squat for 3 breaths. If you're nice and high and you're happy there and you know that's where your knees are happy, you do that. Okay, so let's inhale. Exhale, come down into the squat and stay there. 3 breaths. So you might think, oh yeah, I can just about sit on those blocks. You might be able to bring the hips down by the floor, maybe the hands in front of the heart. Otherwise, you're staying up higher. That's absolutely fine with the hands on your hips. Breathe in and out through the nose if you can. One more big inhale. Exhale. Lovely. And then push down. Rise up. Okay, keep the feet where they are. We're going to come through a sun salutation now. So keeping the blocks out of the way. Begin at the front of your mat so that you've got enough room to take a big stride back. Bring your hands to your heart. They can come to your thighs in a minute if you want them to. Let's start on an inhale, lifting up nice and high. And then exhale down, coming into a squat. So hands come onto thighs. You might continue your journey down to the floor. The hands might come to the floor, or they might be in front of the heart. Take a nice big inhale here. On the exhale, let the hands find the floor. Heel toe the feet together towards each other for your forward fold. And take a breath here. Lifting the hips on the exhale, bowing down. Exhaling into the stretch, up the back of the legs. Then the right foot is going to take a big stride back into your lunge. Make sure that left knee is over the left ankle. You can stay here with a lifted knee, or you could drop that back knee if you prefer. Push into the hands, step it back to down dog or kneeling. Up to you. If you're in downward facing dog, bend the knees, lift Muladhara chakra up to the sky. And then everybody come together, drop the knees down, lift the head, lift the heart for cow pose. And exhale back into child. Maybe the knees go a little wider for that. You drop the forehead down. Ready on the inhale for cobra. Come forward, lifting the heart, opening the front of the body, and then tucking the toes. You can stay in kneeling, come back to kneeling, or you can go all the way back to downward facing dog. Here's the tricky bit. Bending the knees, pushing off with the left foot. You want to step the right foot between the hands as best you can. If it doesn't get there, drop that back knee, shuffle, lift it forward. So you end up in your lunge. Lift the heart, look forward, not down. And then again, push off with that back foot into your forward fold. Bowing down. Now pressing down into your feet, hip width apart with those feet. Think of grounding down and let the inhale lift you up. Floating you up to standing, and the exhale brings the hands back down to the heart. Ready to do that all again on the other side. So we're going to start with our squat. Nice wide stance, toes pointing out a bit at an angle. Inhale here, open the arms out, reach up, look up if the neck is good. Exhale, hands come down the center, maybe onto the thighs for your squat. Nice, deep, slow breath here. In and out. In. On the next exhale, bow down. Heel toe the feet towards each other. Come into your normal forward fold. Hands might be on the floor, they might be on the shins or even the thighs. Take a couple of exhales, opening up the hamstrings, giving them a good stretch. And then hands onto the floor. The left foot is going to take a big stride back this time into your lunge. Again, your option is to drop the back knee if you wish. Lengthen the heart away from the back knee or the back heel. And then pressing into the hands, step it back, down dog, or come straight to kneeling if you prefer. Lengthen the spine. Maybe draw the heels towards the earth. And then everyone comes together. In kneeling, lift the heart, lift the head for cow pose. Exhale gently back into child. Think grounding, pranaming down to the earth. Inhale lifts you up and forward. Come into cobra in your own way. Roll those shoulders back. And on the exhale, take yourself back to either kneeling or downward facing dog. Prepare yourself mentally here. Look between the hands. That's where that left foot is going to go. Little bend in the knee. Push off with the right foot and lift the left foot forward as best you can. Good. It'll come. We're going to work on this in our next session. So, taking a breath in your lunge. Step forward into a forward fold on an exhale. And then pressing down, root down to rise up. Letting that in-breath float you up to standing. And an exhale, bring the hands together in front of the heart. Come to the front of your mat if you're not already there. Turn the palms out, stand in Tadasana and breathe. Drop the shoulders away from the ears, close your eyes if that helps you, come inwards and feel the prana rushing around your body. Can you have a sense of you've stirred up the energy, you've tipped and turned and opened and closed your body. Got the circulation going. Good stuff. And then I want you to take a turn to your left so that you are facing the long side of your mat, and take the feet nice and wide apart and point the toes out to the corners of your mat. Ready for a goddess stance here. We're going to inhale and lift our arms out in a star shape. As we exhale, bring the hands and the arms into a cactus position and bend the knees. Lovely. So take a little look. You don't want the knees going too much inwards and forwards. You want them going out over the toes or towards the toes. Feel strong and powerful here. Draw in the belly. Drop the weight down into the tailbone. Okay, representing the Mother Earth energy, Goddess energy. Breathe. Nice. Inhale, straighten out the legs, push down into the floor. Exhale, bring the hands down to the side. Turning the right toes towards the front of your mat, allow the left toes to come inwards, and you're in a warrior stance. We're going to do warrior 2 next. So hips roughly still facing the wide edge of your mat. On the inhale, lift the arms shoulder height. Look down that right arm. On the exhale, come into your warrior 2. So adjust the feet so that that front knee is coming over the front ankle. You're dropping down through Muladhara chakra. Feel again, energized from the ground up. Let's push down into the back edge of that back foot. Lift the heart. Shoulders are over hips. Feel strong, brave, stable, supported. And then let's take triangle pose by inhale, straightening the front leg, dipping the hips back. Exhale, reach forward and down. Top hand comes to the hip. Let's set ourselves up in triangle. So if you've got a block nearby, maybe you want to reach for that and have your bottom hand pushing into a block. Otherwise, lightly have the front hand on your shin. We don't want to push down into the shin. A little micro bend in the knee. Push down through the toes and the ball of the front foot to make sure that the muscles are working and we're not hyperextending that front leg. And then think about rolling this top shoulder back, spinning the heart towards the sky a little more. Can you tuck this bottom hip under, the right hip? And if you feel you're in line, then you might want to lift the top hand. It's no good lifting the top arm if your chest is facing the floor. You're much better served keeping the top hand on the hip. Only if you're stacking the shoulders over one another can we lift the arm up to the sky without talking anything in that shoulder. So think width, think growth from the foundations up, pressing into the feet, lengthening through the limbs, lengthening out through the crown of the head. Nice big breath here. And then we're going to come back to warrior 2. Bending the front knee, lifting up, breathing. And then on an inhale, straighten the front leg. This time the toes are going to turn back so that they're pointing towards the long edge of the mat and the hands come down. You can have the hands on the hips or in that hip crease ready for a forward fold. Inhale. As you exhale, keep a nice long spine for as long as you can. Let the knees bend if you wish to, bringing the hands to the floor or in the direction of the floor, or you're sliding them down the legs. Maybe they stay on the shins. Take a little bend into one knee and a little bend into the other knee, swaying the hips gently as you let the neck and the head release into a forward fold, wide-legged forward fold here. Let the hands find the ground, so bend the knees generously and start walking the hands around to the front of your mat. Let the toes turn. You'll find yourself coming into a lunge. That front knee bends. And then push off with the back foot into your forward fold. Bow down, exhaling. And then float up, inhaling. Bringing the hands in front of the heart. Take a moment at the front of your mat. And then turn yourself around. So, turning to the right this time, can take that nice wide stride again. Toes point towards the corners of the mat. Arms lift up. Inhale. Exhale, come down into goddess. Bend the elbows, bend the knees. Now, can you take the elbows back? So we're really lifting the heart now. And notice if the bottom of the ribs are sticking out. Draw the belly in, tuck the tailbone down. Let's take our hands into the hip crease and press down like we were pressing down at the beginning of the class. Drop down into the hips a little more with each exhale, your goddess pose. Really firing up those thighs, firing up the base energy, your primal energy. Good stuff. And straighten the legs up. I'll be turning this way. You're going to turn your left toes to the front of the mat and the right toes in a little bit, ready for warrior two on this side. Inhale, opening the arms up. Exhale, coming into that warrior two posture. So arms at shoulder height, unless the arms or shoulders complain here, in which case you can bring the hands onto the hips instead. Be fearless. Find your own inner courage. Find trust in this position. Grounding down through the feet, especially that back foot, anchoring you in this pose. Ready to turn it into triangle by straightening the front leg, reaching forward, dipping the hips and down. Again, a block might help you, or lightly resting the hand on the shin, the ankle, maybe fingertips to the floor if you're very used to triangle. And then top hand staying on the hip until you've rolled that shoulder open as it's okay for you today. Bending the front knee, straightening the front knee, but not locking into it. Don't overextend. If you wish to, after a few breaths, you can lift that top hand up to the sky. Keeping the gaze forward, down, or up to you and how the neck feels. Think expansiveness without losing that connection to the ground. So staying grounded, using the breath to extend out through the limbs, through the neck into the head. And then bend the front knee. Inhale, come back to warrior two. Take one more breath, looking down that front arm into the distance. And then inhale, straighten the legs. Exhale as the hands come down onto the thighs. So we've got The feet parallel again now, turning those toes towards the long edge of your mat, ready for your forward fold into wide-legged forward fold. You can have the hands on the hips or the hip crease, or you could take them out wide. Stronger on the back, so choose wisely. Inhale here at the top, exhale, trying to keep a lovely long flat back as long as possible. Let the knees bend before the back rounds, and then bringing the hands down towards the floor or down the legs. And let's again bend one knee then the other, and if you bend one generously, let's say bend the right one, take both hands in its direction, come into like a half squat, so you're bending the knee forwards and feeling that half side lunge squat. Good. And then walking the hands across, bend the left knee generously, feeling a half squat, sort of lunge, side lunge on this side. And then you can either do that again slowly, once on each side, or you might move a little quicker between the two sides. When you've done an even number on each side, come back into the center. You might want to heel toe your feet a little wider as we take a final bow. Inhale, exhale. Maybe the head comes to the floor. If it's quite near to the floor and you fancy bringing it onto something solid, it's nice to have a block or a couple of blocks underneath. Otherwise, letting it hang down, let the neck be long. If you know that's not the right thing for you to do, keep the feet closer together, bring the hands onto the thighs, and stay in a half wide-legged forward fold rather than the full forward bend. Breathing here, inhaling, exhaling. Take your final bow. Lift those hips, stretch out the back of the legs, and then bend the knees. Start walking the hands round to the front of your mat, into your lunge. Allow those toes to turn, and then pushing off with the back foot, step forward into your forward fold, ready to bend the knees and float up on your inhale. Take a moment standing here at the front of your mat, breathing in, breathing out. Maybe those eyes close. Notice how you feel after that sequence, those postures. Bring your energy down to the ground. Ready for a balance. We're going to open up the front of the legs now. We've done a lot of work on the hamstrings, the back of the legs. So we're going to do some quad stretches. First of all, as a balance, you might want to have a chair or come to a wall. Have your left hand reaching out for something to start with. We're going to balance on the left foot. So pressing down through the left foot, maybe reaching the back of a chair or a wall. We're going to take the right foot and lift it back. So bending the right knee. And want you to think about having that knee pointing down and back. So not out to the side and forwards. It's got to be down and back. And you might be able to catch hold of your right foot with your right hand, or if the hand doesn't come anywhere near the foot or vice versa, point the right fingers towards the right foot. If you're not near a wall or not needing to be near a wall, the opposite hand could come onto the hip. And we're trying to get a sensation in the front of this thigh, stretching out strong quad muscles there. So the foot is coming up towards the bum, the knee is pointing down, not swinging out to the side. Tuck the tailbone, draw the belly in, a little bit of glute engagement. You might want to lift the left hand up For the last couple of breaths, gently release. Try not to ping out of the posture, gently releasing back down to the earth. Take a breath before it's time to set up the other side. So if you want to hold on to something, it'd be the right hand reaching out. Right foot is going to send down those roots, maybe lift and spread the toes, press them back down to the earth. Get your focal point, and then when you're ready, lifting the left foot, so bending the left knee, reaching back. If the hand isn't there, then you might want to grab a strap, loop it around the ankle or foot to hold on to, or you can point the fingers down towards the foot. Draw the knee down and back, keeping the knees in alignment. Don't let that knee sway out to the side. Can you rise up through the crown of the head? Tuck the tailbone under a little. Draw the belly in. Draw the glutes slightly in. And perhaps you lift the right arm up into the air. Perhaps it stays in contact with something for your balance. Nice deep breaths to finish. And then slowly releasing and coming to the ground once more. Good. I'm going to float down to the floor together now, and then I'm going to show you a couple of options for the next pose. So come to the front of your mat if you're not already there, hands in front of the heart. Let's inhale, open the arms out, reach up to the sky, and exhale into a forward fold. If you want to, you can lift those hips and get another hamstring stretch in. But we want to work now on the thighs. So coming into a toe balance, ease yourself down onto the floor and choose one of these options. So we're going to do hero's pose, which involves bending the knees. If you know that your knees have got issues, and it might be uncomfortable, this is the option I want you to take. Have some books or a bolster or a couple of blocks next to your hips. Lie down, push into the feet and take bridge pose, lifting the hips, sliding some support under the sacrum, under the pelvis there, so that it's nice and comfortable. And you're going to work at taking the knees away from the hips and shoulders. So you might walk your feet closer into the support until you feel a stretch in the quads. Okay, lifting the blocks to come out. That's option one. If you want to try hero's pose, we sit between the knees. And this isn't great for everybody, this kind of W position. So I'm not expecting everyone to like this. I would suggest, if you haven't done this a lot before, get some height under the hips, because this then reduces the angle that the knees and the shins are at in comparison with the upper legs. So letting the toes turn out to the sides a little bit, get yourself comfortable. And we're going to, again, think about getting a stretch in the front of the thighs. So either lying on your back, lifting into bridge, slide the support under, or come to sitting in this position on some cushions, blocks, bolster, and walking the hands back until you start feeling the front body opening. Press the knees down into the mat. If they start lifting up, you've come too far back. Lift yourself back up and start again. So we want the stretch in the quad muscles, and we're going to breathe here for 6 deep, slow breaths. Inhaling, exhaling. Often we have one quad tighter than the other. So if it's too much to keep both knees bent at the same time in this posture, then maybe you can gently release one, and work on the tightest quad muscle a little longer on the other side. Again, work shouldn't be in the lumbar spine. So keep that tailbone long, keep the tummy working, drawn in, sides of the waist engaged, press down into the floor. One more big breath in and out. You could let the head go if you want to, or keep it level with the spine. To lift out of this, think there's a rope attached around your chest. Inhale as the chest lifts up. If you're in bridge pose, of course, you're lifting your hips, sliding out the support, coming onto the floor. Wait there, we'll join you there in a moment. So from hero's pose, get rid of any props or blocks. And if you want them nearby for relaxation, keep them handy. Grab anything you might want, extra layers. And we're going to ease our way onto the floor, lying on our backs, hugging the knees, maybe having a rock and roll if that feels nice. I'm going to finish with a twist. So both feet are going to start on the floor with the knees bent. I want you to take your right leg out long. So I'll do the opposite to you. And drawing the left knee up towards the chest, lifting that left foot off the floor, take your right hand onto the side of your left knee and gently guide the bent leg across the body. Allow yourself to roll onto your side, hips stacked on top of hips. You might want to wiggle the hips back a little. And if this knee is uncomfortably floating around in midair, you might want to get those blocks or a bolster underneath it. The hands can stay and rest wherever you like. They could rest on the body, or you might like to take them out in a T shape at shoulder height, maybe even turning the head to look in the opposite direction to the knee. And if this is really uncomfortable for you, bend both knees. Find a twist that works for you. Close your eyes and take some deep breaths in and out there. Release and relax the jaw. Let the body be heavy. One more big inhale, exhale. Draw the belly button back. Roll onto your back. Bend both knees. You might want to give them a hug as we come through this resting posture, bringing both feet to the ground. Shimmy the hips and shoulders so that everything's in line, ready to start again. And this time you're going to straighten out the left leg. Maybe shimmy the hips over to the right if that seemed to help you last time. And then bending the right knee, the left hand comes to the outside of the left knee. As you exhale, it gently guides you to roll onto your side. Try to keep both shoulders, backs of the shoulders on the floor. Come into your twist, have a fidget, get comfortable. Decide whether your arms are going to stay on your body or lift out in that T shape. Perhaps the head is going to turn so that the nose points in the opposite direction to the bent knee. Perhaps the nose stays facing up towards the ceiling. Exhale, and with every breath out, release down to the ground. So gravity is gradually helping you get deeper into this twist. letting go a little more with every out breath. Couple more times. Drawing the belly back towards the spine, engaging the muscles. Roll onto your back. Bend both knees, and if it feels nice, hug the knees in, rock and roll on your back, or circle the knees around one way then the other to massage the back of the pelvis. And find yourself a relaxation posture, either Shavasana, our classic corpse pose, where the toes drop out to the side, the legs are long. Constructive rest, where the feet are on the floor and the knees drop towards each other. Or I'm going to suggest today a third option of Baddha Konasana, Supta Baddha Konasana, our bound angle pose, where the feet are together, the soles of the feet touching, the knees are bent, dropping away from each other. Again, this is a very goddess-like posture, so reclined goddess posture. And if the knees feel like they're floating up in midair, a little block or rolled blanket or cushion under each thigh will support the legs so that they're held there effortlessly. So do what you need to do to make yourself comfortable. Closing the eyes. Bring your attention down to Muladhara chakra, down to the bottom of your spine, maybe pulsing the pelvic floor a couple of times to really feel into that area. Release and relax the jaw, the shoulders, the hips. Feel the support of the earth taking your weight, feeling grounded. I'd like you to picture the color red. Take this warm, dark red color down around the pelvis. Soothing, nurturing. Thinking of the qualities of this chakra. Stability, groundedness, security, strength, courage, belonging. Each of the chakras has a sound associated with it. And the sound for Muladhara chakra is Lam, spelt L-A-M, but pronounced as a U, as in up. Lam. I want you to think of this as you bring your awareness around your chakra. Lam. Deep red. Lam. Saying this to yourself, silently or out loud if you wish, extending the M now. Lam. Lam. And taking 2 nice deep inhale, exhales, in through the nose, out through the mouth, as you wriggle fingers and toes. Starting to stretch out, move limbs, perhaps bringing the knees together over the chest. A little rock and roll if you want to. Rolling onto one side and resting there. Feeling the ground underneath you as you let go of any ideas about sounds and colors. Feeling grounded though as you bring your hands onto the earth and press yourself gently up to a seated position. Bringing the hands in front of the heart space. Take a lovely deep breath in. And as you exhale, bow your head. Give thanks to this practice. May you feel strong and stable and grounded. Namaste.